Welcome back to Adrian's Avenue, and on this channel, on the Avenue, we like to discuss things that help you make a better decision for a better life, because I truly believe that your daily decisions determines your destiny. And today we got a good one for you. We've been talking a lot about savings accounts and different mutual funds and stuff like that. But as far as the savings accounts, we're going to go over a well-known question which comes to me quite often, is how much should I be saving? We're going to discuss that, not only how much you should be saving in these accounts, but why you should be saving it. Stay tuned. The first question that you should be asking yourself is, why do I need to save at all? Why is saving so important? And I will tell you, savings, if you look at it, that is your first line of defense against emergencies or anything like that. Savings is also your first basis lines to your next opportunity, whatever that may be. The defense against a loss of a job or something like that, if you have money in savings, that will help you during those times. Also, you can save for different goals out there, and we're going to discuss all of that. But savings is critical. You have to have some money put aside that's liquid, that you can get your hands on when you're in need of it. So you can sleep better, as well as you can think of things for the future and opportunities out there that you can actually invest in if you have the money to do it. Often the problem is we don't have the money to pursue the things that we want to pursue. So we're going to talk about various savings accounts, how much you should have in them next. Like I said, savings can be a basis for your next opportunity. Have you ever been presented with an opportunity or saw your dream home and you could not get it because you did not have that amount of money saved? There are very few things that you can actually do or buy or pursue without some form of money or compensation to get to that next goal or to get to that thing that you want to do. So savings is critical when it comes to that type of things. And you might say, well, why don't I just invest all my money? Great idea. I would say invest some of your money, but you don't invest all of your money because you need it liquid. Now, stocks you can buy and you can sell, but if you sell them while they are down, you're actually losing money. If you have your money in a savings account that's making you a little bit of interest, not as much as stocks can make you, but you have a reason and a goal for having that money in that account, that will save you tons, and it'll have you money available to you that's liquid, that you can put your hands on in a matter of minutes up to a matter of a few days. And you know that money, if you put $100 in there, you'll know that you'll have at least $100 that you can take out, if not more, when it starts gaining and making money off of that money due to the interest rate where you're putting that money. But liquidity is something that will be on your side when these opportunities come along. And even if it's an emergency situation, you want money that you can put your hands on. And that's the main reason we want to save, for protection against things like that, the unknown, the unseen, as well as those opportunities may come along. You want to make sure you're in a position to say, yes, let's move forward with that. Let's make more money. Now, I will only go over about 5 major categories of accounts that you may want to consider. First up, and you know what's about to come out of my mouth, is the emergency fund. This account, how much should you have in your emergency fund? Well, that depends on a lot of things, whether you are a single person, by yourself, no one else to support you, if you have a family to support, your head of household, if your job is a little shaky and maybe not as steady, if you know some layoffs are coming, the economy, just all of this. If you have a house note that's huge that you have to pay for, or if you live in an apartment and you're sharing the apartment with a few people, that makes a difference. All of this makes a difference. If you have your bills paid down, you consider all of this. But I would say, especially in these times right now with high inflation and a recession may be looming sometime soon, we don't know when, I would say no less than 6 months of your monthly expenses. So put that down as 6 months of your monthly expenses. So for everyone, it'll be a different number. You know what your monthly expenses are if you have a budget, right? If you have a budget, you know what your monthly expenses are. So I would say no less than 6 months of your monthly expenses. If some of these other things apply, such as head of household, you may want to go up to maybe 9 months. If you're a business owner, you may want to go up to maybe 12 months. If you're single by yourself, don't have any more help from anybody else, and your job may be a little wavery right now, you may want to go past the 6 months up to 9 months, at least 9 months. Now, if you're secure about your job, if you have one of those jobs that will always be around and you're confident in your ability to keep that job and that you just know you're going to have it, or if you're married and there's two providing for the household, one is a major provider and you may be just supplemental, you may want to only keep 3 months. But I would say no less than 3 months of monthly expenses in your emergency fund. The baseline I would say that I would always go by would be 6 months, at least 6 months. For me, I'm a lot more conservative, so I want to make sure the money is going to be there. So I keep at least 9 months of my monthly expenses set aside. For any businesses that I have or any homes that I have as far as investment properties, I also keep a certain amount of emergency fund set aside for that, because I do not want that dipping into my household emergency fund. So that's just a small tip right there. If you're a business owner, you want to have an emergency fund for your business also. But I would say baseline 6 months, 9 months, or 12 months if you just want to be totally secure that if something were to happen, you would have it covered. There you go for the emergency fund. Next up is the rainy day fund. Now, we define this rainy day fund as a smaller type of emergency fund that if you had a flat tire or an appliance went out, something like that, you would have money available that you wouldn't have to dip into your major emergency fund for those big expenses or job loss or a health situation where you just need a lot of money that you don't have at the time. So the rainy day fund is a small amount that you can have on hand at a local bank, I would say. The emergency fund I would keep in a high interest bearing account, online account that you can get that money making money for you. But if it's a smaller account such as the rainy day fund, for those just minor emergencies, I would want to get my hands on it as soon as possible. You can have, I would say, no less than 1,000, because things happen, and as expensive as tires are, as car batteries are, that type of thing. I know my truck battery, when it went down, it cost me about $185 to get it replaced. Now, I did have some time on it, so I didn't have to actually pay $185. But when you put tires on your vehicles, if you have to put all 4 tires on, it's going to be expensive. And if you did not plan that out, your rainy day fund can come in handy. This rainy day fund will help keep your credit cards in your pocket and not having these minor little things put on your credit card unless you're going to charge them and come home and pay them off right away. But that's what this rainy day fund is for. So you can have $1,000, maybe $1,500. I just wouldn't keep a lot of money in the rainy day fund because it's in a local bank that's probably not making you a lot of money. So don't confuse the emergency with the rainy day fund. But I like to have this just as a second type of security blanket for me. That's the rainy day fund. We are talking major categories. If you want to see the video that I talked about, all the funds, the saving accounts that you should have, that is a video in the past. And so you can go look at that video. But for just major categories, the next one I'm going to bring up is from year to year, things come up, such as birthdays come up from year to year. Christmas comes up from year to year. Thanksgiving comes up from year to year. Anniversaries, all types of celebration. If you know someone is going to get married in the year of 2025 or 2024, you can put that on the list. You can have these savings accounts for these things. So when they come up, Christmas is no surprise. You should have, or you could have, a Christmas fund. If your household is going to be hosting the Thanksgiving dinner this year, you know that's going to be expensive depending on how many people come over to your home. So you can have a fund for that. And so these funds are things that you can plan ahead of time. So when it comes, you can keep your credit card in your pocket and have that money already available to buy those Christmas gifts, buy that turkey, chicken, ham, whatever you're going to have for Thanksgiving. When the wedding time comes, you can set aside that you're going to spend $75, $100, $150 on the wedding gift. And if you have to travel, put all that in there and have those monies ready and available when that time comes. We know Christmas is in December 25th. Happens every year, December 25th. It doesn't change. And that being said, you have, if you start in January, you have 11 months and 24 days to get that money together to spend on Christmas. So there you have it. So you can save automatically. I would suggest automatic savings. Punch that money into this account that you know how much you want to spend. If you want it to be $1,200, that's $100 a month into your Christmas fund. If you know you want to spend a certain amount on a birthday party or whatever you want to do with these annual things that come up every year or things that's coming up this year that you want to celebrate, you want to be a part of, you can put that money in a bank and have it available for you. So these are annual things that come up every year, and you can do that by saving a little at a time and making it automatic. That way you don't have to think about it. It automatically goes from your paycheck into that fund. And when it's time for that to happen, you have that money there waiting on you. Right now, I want you to save at least two things. Your finger to hit that like button and that subscribe button so that you can stay up to date on the latest information as it becomes available to you. Hopefully you have been looking at the information and this has been helpful to you. I'm glad to bring it to you, glad to present it to you, opening up your minds so you can think about finances maybe in a slightly different way and get better at your finances, make better decisions on a daily basis to get you to that goal. And speaking of goals, we should always have a savings for our goals. If there is a car you want to purchase, if there is a trip you want to go on, if there is a house you want to buy, you want to have money set aside for that. Now, this is not annualized. This is something that may take 2 or 3, 4, 5, 6 years to do. But you can do it a little at a time. And so when it comes to that time that you want to go on that trip to Hawaii, that trip overseas, the trip to France, Paris, wherever it is you want to go, you will have that money. Even if you want to go to the Olympics, and when the Olympics comes around again, you have 4 years to save for that. So these are little things that you can start planning on, start putting money aside. And these are not critical. This is not critical everyday living expenses. This is something that you want to do, you want to focus on. But because you have a longer time span to do that, to meet that goal, you can have the time to plan it out and focus on it. If there's a $10,000 car you want to buy and you want to wait 5 years to get it done, that's $2,000 a year that you need to set aside. Okay, so these are things that you can kind of plan out and have them done, but you can have a savings account to do these kinds of things. Buy that next house, okay? But plan for it, have that money available. And let me just say this about buying houses. Two of the main reasons people don't purchase houses and they start renting, which I like renters, believe me, I like renters, is because they don't have the down payment is number one. They have not planned and saved as a goal for that down payment, or they have credit issues. The credit issues you can overcome by doing the right thing, listening to the channel and getting things in order. But the savings issue, that's another issue because you're going to have, in most cases, a certain amount of money to put down on a house, a car, whatever it is. You know, a trip, I would advise you to pay the trip off before you go on it. But it's going to take money, gang. You know, it's not something that you just wake up and decide to do. Get out the credit card, start charging up and then paying that heavy interest on the credit card. Do these things in order. Go ahead and save for those things that you want to do. You can do whatever you want to do, but save for it. Be prepared for it. Then you have the money. You can sleep well. It's paid for when you get back home. You're on your normal routine. You're not paying back a hefty credit card bill because you had a good time over in Paris. Last but not least, if you have a budget in place, if your debt is paid down, and if you have your emergency fund all done, now is the time to saving to invest in things. Invest in things such as the stock market, invest in things such as real estate property. These are things that can actually make you money for the future. So you need to start investing in other things outside of maybe your 401k that you have at your job or an IRA. These are investments that can really punch it in and make the money for your future. And so once you have all of these other savings accounts done, you have money to go ahead and start investing. Now, should we wait this late to start investing? No, you don't have to. You can sacrifice and not do some of those major goals that you want to do, or you can put some money and do maybe smaller goals and still invest. I would not delay investing for any length of time. I would get in there as soon as I possibly could and start investing. But I would also make sure my credit cards are paid way down, if not off. I would also make sure I have a budget in place so that investing won't hurt my budget or my monthly spending. And I would also just make sure everything is in order. I have an emergency fund, fully funded emergency fund, because I don't want something to happen and all of a sudden now I have to stop investing or stop putting money in toward my investment because something has come up and I don't have the money to take care of it. So these are steps that we have to do in order, especially when it comes to investing. So invest, I would say, as early as you can, as soon as you can, and invest as much as you possibly can, because your older self will thank your younger self for doing the investment for you. So all these funds, all these savings, it sounds like a lot, but if you sit down, put it together, put it down on a sheet of paper, and just make sure the things that you want to do are do the priorities first, and then everything else will fall in line. You can have and do whatever you want to do in life, but it's going to take some discipline. It's going to take some money. It's going to take some sitting down and planning, and then it's going to take some action. Key point is action. Do it. I know you can. I know you can do it. So take this information about the different savings accounts, and the amount of money that you need to have in there is based on your goals and exactly what you want to do. I'm not going to give you a 10% here or 15% there. Figure out the amount of years you want to get to that point as far as goals are. You know what your annual things are. You know what your investments you want to invest in. Figure all that out, and you know exactly how much money you have coming in to work with. That's how you break down how much you put in these savings accounts for these various areas. Okay, so with that being said, I will see you in the next video.